Remakes always have mixed assessments from viewers worldwide. Some do remarkably well. A few bring their unique insights with a tinge of nostalgia that gains immense praise from both younger and older audiences, while others fail to meet audiences' expectations. Buckle up, as today we look into 10 amazing movie remakes that have outdone themselves from the original releases. Keep an eye out for your favorite one that might be on the list. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Fly, 1986. First up, we have the iconic sci-fi horror movie The Fly, directed by David Cronenberg, which was released in 1986. We compare it with Kurt Newman's The Fly, released in 1958. Both films are influenced by George Langeland's 1957 short story of the same name. Newman's movie has the B-movie horror charm. By contrast, Cronenberg's has gut-wrenching gore and also shows the audience a doomed relationship and how it affects the protagonist's humanity. The remake made approximately $60.6 million at the box office with a 93% Rotten Tomatoes score, compared to the $4 million grossed by the original movie with mixed judgments. The original has been a cult classic that influenced upcoming horror movies in the 1950s and 60s, but Cronen's movie tagline, "Be afraid, be very afraid," has become a famous phrase in pop culture and is referenced in various movies and TV series almost all the time. The 1980s witnessed the emergence of CGI, which Cronenberg's movie incorporated, along with some seriously cool yet creepy makeup effects by Chris Wallace. No wonder Chris Wallace's convincing yet haunting effects won the Academy Award for Best Makeup. Seth Brundle, the main antagonist, played by Jeff Goldblum, spent hours in the makeup chair to bring the gruesome transformation of a fly to the screens, which gradually gets worse and worse, from bruised and sickly to a full-on ugly fly monster that explodes out of his skin, terrifying and in an explicit manner. Fans and critics were crushed when Jeff didn't receive the award for Best Actor in Oscar nominations for his mind-blowing performance. Despite that, Goldblum was able to take home the Best Actor award in the 14th Saturn Award for his role in Cronenberg's movie. The Fly by Cronen garnered widespread critical acclaim and praise, with many describing it as better than the original story. Many critics have shifted the meaning of Cronen's movie The Fly, linking it with AIDS, even though Cronenberg aimed for a broader message focusing on aging and terminal diseases like cancer. The Thing, 1982. Up next, we have John Carpenter's The Thing, released in 1982, and 1951's Howard Hawks monster movie The Thing from Another World by Christian Nyby. There's a controversy about Hawks not getting full credit for the movie, but that's not the issue we take up today. Both films are inspired by John Campbell's 1938 novella titled Who Goes There, and have done outstandingly great in their respective times. The 1951 movie is still enjoyable with its retro charm and old-school effects, but some consider it pretty much outdated. But the 1982 remake is packed with insane tension and terrifying but outstanding practical effects, making it one of the greatest horror movies ever. Carpenter's 1982 classic grips the viewers in a suffocating blanket of paranoia and dread, leaving you feeling helpless and alone in Antarctica's frozen landscape. Rob Bottin's remarkable makeup and creature design unleashes graphic body horror of severed limbs and shape-shifting creatures. The 1951 classic, at the end of the day, leaves things to your imagination. Instead of full-on graphic horror, the movie offers subtle clues and glimpses that let the viewers fill in the blanks with their likely worst nightmares. Imagine this creepy feeling. It's like you think you saw something move in the shadows, but you're unsure if something is present over there or if your mind is playing games. That's exactly what makes this a classic black and white horror sci-fi movie. On the other hand, John Carpenter's version takes a distinct approach. The theme of his movie revolves around the sentiment of paranoia and mistrust, the continuous uneasy feeling that someone you trust might be among the people you are always surrounded by. The film plays on our profound fears of betrayal, which makes it even more scary. It's kind of like our imaginations can stir emotions way more terrifying than any special effects. And on top of that, throwing in that foreboding feeling of who can I trust takes the fear to a new level. That makes Carpenter's The Thing a haunting ride into psychological horror. Ocean's 11, 2001. When it comes to remakes, one can't go without mentioning the box office hit with star-studded casts Ocean's 11, directed by Steven Soderbergh, which came out in the year 2001, and compare it with the Rat Pack's version of Ocean's 11, released in 1960 and directed by Lewis Milestone. The Milestone version introduced the main cast as World War II veterans who have worked together in the same unit and came together to rob not one or two, but 5 Las Vegas casinos. Meanwhile, Soderbergh's heist comedy introduces a professional thief and, together with his partner in crime, brings together skilled members to rob $160 million from 3 casinos owned by his rival, and also set in the City of Sin, Las Vegas. Even though the original Ocean's 11 stars the famous Rat Pack and showcases the banter between Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, Sammy Davis Jr., and Joey Bishop, it still underperforms in the theaters. Whereas the modern Ocean's 11 has charismatic, gorgeous heartthrobs of the 2000s with interesting backstories, the motivation behind the heist, and lots of comedic drama. Ocean's 11 garnered approximately $5.5 million at the box office. And then again, Steven's Ocean's 11 made around $450 million with an 83% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. If you're ever in the mood for popcorn entertainment with an action-packed heist comedy and witty dialogues, it's a no-brainer that Ocean's 11, starring 20s George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon, will be the obvious classic, timeless preference all the time. Scarface, 1983. Next, we bring you the movies that are slightly inspired by the Armitage Trails novel Scarface, published in 1929. In 50 years, a lot has changed in the original film and the remake. Howard Hawks directed the earlier version in 1932, which ran for 93 minutes and took place completely in Chicago. Brian De Palma directed his Scarface in 1983, and it ran for almost 3 hours, with Al Pacino as the lead. De Palma's Scarface takes place in Miami, where the main protagonist, Tony Montana, is violent, trash talks constantly, has no sense of humor, and takes business very seriously. The 1932 gangster movie did amazing. Even though it was initially banned in some cities, it still scored a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie has thrilling violence, stylish visuals, and an outstanding cast. De Palma's Scarface features the darker side of the classic American dream, with elements of drugs, corruption, power, and greed shown in the movie. Al Pacino's phenomenal portrayal of Tony in the remake Scarface remains ingrained in viewers' minds even after the movie comes to an end. For this role, Al Pacino had to go through rigorous training with various trainers to sharpen his boxing skills and knife combat. Over the years, the movie has earned approximately $66 million worldwide, with a rating of 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Both movies continue to have major cult followings since their release, influencing crime drama movies like The Godfather in 1972 and The Departed in 2006. Dawn of the Dead, 2004. In 2004, Zack Snyder released the remake of a zombie apocalypse horror inspired by George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, both of which are broadly based on Night of the Living Dead, released in 1968. Both films share the same beginning, a mysterious outbreak that forces survivors to secure shelter in a mall. The zombies in both movies are portrayed in distinctive styles. Romero's film depicts the zombies in a basic gray or blue tinge. They are slow-moving and easier to kill with a gun when approaching the survivors. In opposition, Snyder's movie depicts a realistic zombie with enhanced CGI and special makeup effects by David Leroy Anderson. To create such realistic images, Anderson has used various images of human decay after death as a reference. He's done a remarkable job of making the undead people look gruesome and real on the big screen, heightening the horror level. The zombies in Zack's movie are not slow-paced. Rather, they're fast-moving and rage-filled. Fast-paced action makes you sit closer to the edge with each intense move of the survivors. The endings of both movies also have drastic differences. The original film ends with a note of uncertain hope as the remaining survivors take off in a helicopter to an unknown destination. Zack's remake showcases a distinct alternative ending where the remaining survivors flee to an island on a yacht. Low on supplies, the island is their only hope, which turns into horror as the island is already crawling with numerous zombies. The viewers remain with the lingering question of whether they will either survive or perish in the apocalypse. Even though Romero's film is considered a cult classic in the horror genre, Snyder's remake inspires the new wave of zombie movies. True Grit, 2010. Next up, we have the True Grit remake, released in 2010 and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. The earlier Western movie was released in 1969, directed by Henry Hathaway. Both movies are accurate adaptations of the 1968 novel by Charles Portis, with the main plot circulating between U.S. Marshal Rooster Cogburn and Mattie Ross working together to hunt down Tom Chaney. Actor John Wayne, who played the role of the U.S. Marshal in the 1969 version of True Grit, won Oscars for his outstanding performance. Hathaway's movie was lighthearted, with a bit of humor here and there. However, True Grit's 2010 remake is more complex, serious, and darker. The Coen brothers' remake received huge praise and acclaim worldwide, with a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, compared to an 86% rating score for the 1969 version. Critics have reviewed that the Coen brothers have treated the original material respectfully, with more nuanced storytelling and atmospheric direction. The Coen brothers have perfectly brought talents like Roger Deakins' exceptional cinematography and composer Carter Burwell's wonderful music, which made the movie a box office hit but still leaves viewers speechless. The remake made approximately $253 million worldwide, with critics often reviewing it as a flawless recreation. The Coen brothers' skillful reimagining garnered 10 Oscar nominations in categories like Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay, but the viewers were left disappointed when it didn't win in any popular categories. Even though it was a remake, the movie's crisp dialogue and thrill-inducing action made the experience of watching a Western genre film unforgettable for both new and old viewers. Anyone looking for a classic Hollywood U.S. countryside manhunt story that keeps you entertained throughout its screening, True Grit by the Coen brothers is a must-watch. The Departed, 2006. Martin Scorsese's The Departed is an epic crime thriller released in 2006. It's the remake of Infernal Affairs, a Hong Kong film released in 2002, directed by Andrew Lau, and some inspiration from the real-life Boston Winter Hill Gang. Both movies have undercover police officers and double agents infiltrating the organization. Infernal Affairs' primary focus is the internal clash in the Hong Kong Police Department. In comparison, Martin's movie focuses on the fragile web of loyalty and betrayal within police agencies and gangster organizations. Both films have done well at the box office worldwide. Infernal Affairs has been reviewed as Hong Kong's captivating top thriller movie and has won 7 out of 10 Hong Kong Film Awards, which includes Best Film and Best Director. Martin Scorsese's The Departed's initial reaction was about the excessive violence shown in the movie compared to Infernal Affairs, which handled violence with restraint. But later, responses shift to loving the movie's raw, moody, intense gangster drama. The Departed earned $292 million at the box office with a rating score of 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics have noted an interesting feature in both movies, implanted in the depths of the movie, which only a few pay heed to: the religious element associated with the concept of guilt through their main characters. The stars were widely praised for their performances, and Martin Scorsese's direction won him his first ever Oscar for Best Director at the 79th Academy Awards. The fan base for both movies continues to grow even today. A Star is Born, 2018. Up next, we bring a movie that has been remade almost thrice. The fourth one brings a charm of its own in the name of Lady Gaga. That's right, we're talking about the musical drama A Star is Born, released in 2018. The 2018 movie is Bradley Cooper's directorial debut, where he also plays the main character. The first time A Star is Born came to the screens was in 1937, inspired by the real-life relationship between John McCormick and actress Colleen Moore in 1932's What Price Hollywood. Another remake came out in 1954 and again in 1976. All the earlier versions have the same storyline: a celebrity who struggles with his personal issues, helping a new star rise to fame. The ending is always tragic, filling the viewer's eyes with tears. The 2018 movie was a major success, earning approximately $436 million at the box office worldwide compared to its previous versions. The remake has a rating score of 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie's soundtrack has a separate fan base, and the theme doesn't revolve around just musical drama, but also brings forward issues of mental health, addiction, and the stress from popularity. The movie garnered 8 Oscar nominations at the 91st Academy Awards, and won Best Original Song for Shallow. Gaga's fans and audiences have widely praised her acting and contribution to the movie soundtrack, which was recognized when she became the first woman to win not only a Grammy Award, but an Academy Award, a BAFTA, and a Golden Globe Award, all in a single year. The dynamics between Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga were so good and electrifying on-screen and off-screen that many have speculated whether real sparks have been flying between them. Cooper's A Star Is Born shines with charismatic leads, effective direction, and a romance that gives you butterflies and heartache, proving that timeless love stories never get old. It 2017. Next, we have It, a deeply unsettling horror movie inspired by Stephen King's novel. It was used as a source for the 1990 horror miniseries by Tommy Lee Wallace and the 2017 movie It Chapter 1, directed by Andy Muschietti. The miniseries had time limitations, so the series ran for 4 episodes, with the narrative jumping between childhood and adulthood. During that time, special makeup effects were also limited. The movie remake has the advantage of technology, which was effectively used in the movie. Pennywise, the evil clown played by Bill Skarsgård, is more scary and creepy. The 2017 It film has sudden jump scares, unlike the 1990 miniseries, which was way more mysterious because it left more to the viewer's imagination. The movie shows childhood friendship and navigates through loss of innocence, overcoming one's fears, and battling against one's demons. All the cast, director, cinematographer, and music composers were widely praised, earning approximately $704 million at the box office. But my personal favorite would be Bill Skarsgård's manic, sinister acting. Bill was completely unrecognizable as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Many have called the movie one of the best Stephen King novel adaptations ever made. The movie follows the same course as King's book, primarily focusing on 7 kids from Derry, Maine. Muschietti's creation has horror elements, but he also prioritizes love, friendship, and other emotions. The sequel, It Chapter 2, shows the final confrontation between the original 7, who are all adults now, and Pennywise. Both movies are 2 of the most successful horror films of all time, and they're often rewatched during the Halloween season to increase their spookiness. 3:10 to Yuma, 2007. Lastly, we bring James Mangold's 3:10 to Yuma, which, even though it didn't become a great hit like his other movies, such as Girl Interrupted or Walk the Line, it still was one of his excellent productions. The earlier version was released in 1957 and directed by Delmer Daves. The remake was released in 2007. Both movies follow funky action crime novel writer Elmore Leonard's short story almost to the point. The movie's plot remains unchanged, with Dan Evans housing a notorious outlaw, Ben Wade, waiting for his train to Yuma. The characters in both films are very distinct, but the remake provides a backstory of the characters. In the earlier depiction, Ben Wade was both charming as well as manipulative, but in the remake, he's shown to be more violent and complex. Dan Evans in the 1957 movie was more of a hard-as-nails guy, signifying his determination, but in the remake, Dan carries a baggage of inner turmoil. There are mixed reviews regarding the remake, but the audiences widely acclaim the fierce performance and powerful pairing of Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. There's plenty of entertainment for the audience, including an old-fashioned Western tale with not even a single boring scene. It's like watching something so amazing that it leaves you with this intense emotion and feeling that one fails to define. Marvelous verdict. Remakes retell the classic tales in a way that caters to contemporary audiences. Some viewers agree, while others like to stick with the original. It becomes clear that movie remakes are a double-edged sword that provides movie makers an opportunity and a challenge. The debate regarding remakes lacking originality and creativity will always remain the same. It's up to the filmmakers to reintroduce classic stories to the new generation with their unique vision that resonates with both old and new audiences by continuing to honor the original material's spirit and live up to the legacy. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.